Almost 2 children a week are hospitalized for attempted suicide here in Alameda County. 1 a month succeeds. Over 1/3 of Oakland Unified School District children will eventually drop out of school. Homicide is the leading cause of death among Alameda County youth, a rate 7 times higher than the national average. I'm here to tell you about a very special place that reaches out to help these children in our community, the Ann Martin Center. For over 40 years, this nonprofit organization has been providing learning therapy, psychotherapy, diagnostic testing, and bereavement counseling to at-risk youth and their families here in Alameda County. 80% of these children live in poverty or come from low-income families. Now, let's meet someone who was helped by the Ann Martin Center.
I was taken away from my parents who were severely addicted to drugs. First, my grandmother took care of me, but then she was an alcoholic and social services stepped in and took me. Then 7 different foster homes, one reason or another, got taken away. The last one was extremely abusive. I was in a fire. I broke both my arms and both my legs throughout getting taken care of with this family. You know, I had nightmares, scared, calling for my mom, because at that time I still had a connection with my mother. I didn't know, the real story. I was only 5. And then my parents, the parents now that I have, took me.
When I was 4 years old, I started losing my vision. And then by the time I was about 10, I was totally blind. We had not had teenagers before. I mean, it was our first time dealing with teenagers.
That's when I started rebelling and turning against my parents and saying that they weren't my parents, and getting into boys, getting into trouble.
We knew that we needed help and she needed help. And so we started looking. One of them somewhere along the line mentioned Ann Martin Center. And so we went there. Just because I can't see doesn't mean I can't hear and I can't smell and I can't everything else.
They took me from a 14-year-old, very troubled teenager, and I became, a wonderful person and learned how to deal with life.
I hate to think what if we had not found Ann Martin Center, what would have happened to all of us. I have a feeling that Sharon's life would be very different. Our life would be very different. I just know that it has made a great deal of difference in her life and ours.
It's amazing work what they do for families and children.
Early intervention is the key to identifying and helping children with emotional and/or learning differences. The Ann Martin Center is providing free therapy for those children who need it the most. We now travel to an elementary school in Oakland. Meet Roshana, an Ann Martin therapist working in an Oakland elementary school.
What's your name?
Ayana.
Huh?
Ayana.
Play is a very natural part of a child's world, and also it's diagnostic for us. When kids come in here and they play with an adult and they have that undivided attention, material starts to come out through the play. Food might be a really big issue for some children, a need for nurturing. There are problems with domestic violence. I've had a child whose father was murdered when he was just about 3 years old. Just recently, a student that I see, there was a murder of a woman in a nearby location to his house, and something that, he was on the periphery of that and witnessed what was going on. It's terrifying for a young student like that. And so, not only have they experienced trauma, but they're experiencing trauma as I'm seeing them, and I'm sort of seeing the effects of that. We had a student that you're having a meeting with the parent today.
Right.
And if time allows, then she's asked me to come to the meeting.
Our children don't have the adult voice to express their pain. Their emotions are real, but we see it come out in other ways. There are children who've experienced physical abuse. There are children who have been abused sexually. We have children who have been in and out of foster homes. It's our job to reach out to these children despite their experiences and find ways to help them. Ann Martin does that. Ann Martin has worked for many years to reach out to our most needy children within the school, whether they have economic resources or not. That has never been an issue that's barred children from help.
As the years have gone by, a lot of our children, a lot of the children that attend this school have had an escalating amount of difficulties. And to have Ann Martin here is absolutely fabulous. They provide all kinds of support to families. They work with teachers. They step in when things are out of control. If the Ann Martin Center left, there would be a lot of very unhappy students and a lot of unhappy families and a lot of unhappy teachers.
Mike Rier is a CBS correspondent, director of the Redwood Day School, and a child development expert.
The most powerful thing for kids is hope. The hope that I see success ahead of me. What Ann Martin Center does is brings hope back into the equation. The Ann Martin Center is the gold standard in the sense of how they're bringing educational therapy together along with traditional psychotherapy. It's not just that they've been there for a while and done a great job, which they have, but they're actually creating a new model. I wouldn't say a new model, but a real common sense model of how to work with kids and to help them improve and get better and be contributing members to society. And I think that's a big deal.
The services provided at the Ann Martin Center are available to everyone on a sliding scale. 35% of the children seen here have suffered some form of sexual, physical, or emotional abuse or neglect.
Alameda County just in the month of February opened a brand new juvenile justice center, and we had to open it with about 360 some beds, which is just opening the door to the problems that we have in terms of more young people entering the juvenile justice system. There's been tons of reports, but we've also seen it firsthand here in Oakland, that at the earliest state of intervention, at the earliest state of going in and helping a child, that it makes a major difference in the ability for that child to be able to begin the steps of turning their life around. Ann Martin Center needs to be replicated, in my opinion, in many of our areas across this country. I really hope that people will support the Ann Martin Center and the work that they're doing, because supporting the Ann Martin Center is supporting themselves.